You know what else is disgusting? Understanding that we live under capitalism and not tipping the people that need to be tipped for their work. Now, there's an entire problem with the concept again, we're on our bullshit. Under capitalism, the idea of having servers and other types of workers rely specifically on tips, sex workers rely on tips specifically is disgusting. It's another insidious thing. It's about greed and about keeping wages low in these high labor intensive jobs. Like, you need a laborer to serve food to people. You just do. And so anyway, this is Matt Walsh's take on tipping. I'm sure this will be fine.
For the last few years on this show, we have been covering what I would call the pandemic of pointless tipping.
That's, of course, bait.
Now, it used to be that tipping was expected only if you were at a sit-down restaurant or ordering a pizza for delivery. It's a simple time back then. Everybody knew the rules and expectations. You were asked to leave a tip only in very limited and specific circumstances, which meant that you could tip generously when those occasions arose. It was a win-win. The waiters and pizza delivery guys, they made out pretty well, and you had the opportunity to feel magnanimous.
Wow. I don't think that waiters and pizza delivery guys back in the day would argue that they made a quality living.
I used to tip upwards of 25%, even more for most tipping situations. I was essentially a philanthropist back in those days.
Wow.
But then the dam started to crack a little bit, and suddenly places like coffee shops were putting out tip jars. And, why do I need to tip someone for pouring me a coffee? I could do that by myself.
Matthew, this is capitalism. That is what the labor exchange is in that place. They work for tips. That is why. That is especially why, like, Starbucks unions are being things and that you are opposed to. This is an effect directly of your politics. These people are fucking buffoons. They're absolutely not valuable to the human race whatsoever. If Matt Walsh got in a car accident on the way to work tomorrow, literally, it would be a net positive for everybody in the world. Specifically, based not on my politics whatsoever, just resource drainage. He's just an absolute waste of space. A complete abandonment of the neurons in his brain.
I'm more than happy to. Let me behind the counter. I'll handle it. Nobody ever bothered to justify the coffee shop.
Make Matt Walsh a barista. Definitely. That is absolutely my goal. Matt Walsh should be a barista. Let's go.
Tip jar. And we didn't have time to stop and think about it because next thing you know, sit-down restaurants started offering to-go options. But they still wanted tips even for that. We used to tip the waiter for serving the food. Now we're being asked to tip the guy who simply hands a bag of food across the counter. And we got to tip the same for that, we're told.
Because they work for tips. Yeah. They're doing the same job. They bag the food. They put it in there for you. What do you think? Where do you think they did? It's the same job. You blame it on the server? The server was told to do their labor, the labor that they are only paid in tips to do. Matt, it's wild how capitalists are like, if you work in America, you get paid a fair wage. That's it. You get paid a wage and you work hard for your money. Except, like, also, I'm not gonna, any opportunity I can, I'm gonna fucking be a crook about it. Like, this is why.
Tipping had already gotten out of hand, and
then pay them a living wage independent of tips, and you never have to again.
We hadn't seen the worst of it yet, because one day, seemingly out of nowhere, all at once, every store in America started using touchscreen tablets at checkout, which...
Okay. He's boomering out. Matt, if you don't want a tip, push to replace tips with proper wages.
Makes it even easier to add a tipping option. And this was the moment when the dam finally gave way.
Florida is going to crumble with them banning undocumented people from working with a $10K fine to business. Is that true? They're banning undocumented work? With a $10K fine per... Dude, Florida is crumbling.
Did
you see that they are, on a separate note, the Democratic Party is considering running either NBA superstars Grant Hill or Dwayne Wade for political office in Florida to try to combat this, to like reverse Herschel Walker, which would be good. Grant Hill is a former Piston, Detroit Pistons. Let's go, baby. Also a smart guy, really quality thinker, social justice advocate. And also Dwayne Wade is all of those things as well and has a trans child. So, you know.
Innocent days of tipping only on pizza night or date night were gone, and now everybody wants a tip. Every cashier at every store suddenly turns into a panhandler. Doesn't matter if you're at a bakery or a coffee shop or a fast food place or an airport or a supermarket or a gas station, a hardware store. They all want tips. They've all decided that inflation hasn't made life expensive enough as it is, apparently.
Matt, did you hear yourself? It's expensive. They also live with money. You have money, Matt. It's especially bad that you are advocating for this. Like, what a dog shit little guy.
And even as these industries intentionally make their already too expensive goods and services even more expensive,
the goods and services that I need to survive are too expensive, prohibitively so. That, however, is not an indictment on capitalism. That is an indictment on the greed of servers and like baristas. I mean, just fire this guy's head into the sun.
the quality of the goods and services declined. The website retail...
Oh, really? The quality of goods and services declined. I wonder what possibly... What greedy, grubby little actions could have possibly taken place to cause such a thing to happen?
RetailCustomerExperience.com reported last year on a poll of over 96,000 consumers, which found that the quality of customer service has dipped dramatically.
Yes.
So if you've noticed a significant increase in the number of customer service workers who are totally disinterested and generally incompetent and often openly angry at you for walking into their establishment to begin with.
I wonder why they're not grateful to have you in their establishment, Matt Walsh. I wonder why when you walk into a room, people have a general distaste for you.
That's not your imagination.
That's not your imagination, Matt. They don't like you. People do not like you.
Like, we've all noticed the same thing. And yet,
not we
at
all.
this precise moment, when
people like me, genuinely. People go... I have conversations with service people, like, I'm nice to them, I tip well, we talk, they're humans, it's a whole thing. Yeah.
when service has never been worse,
I disagree.
we're being
My
asked
experience
to pay
is fine.
more than we ever have for it.
The thing that has happened is the quality of products has gone down precipitously. They change for cheaper products so that they can serve the bottom line, dude. They want to maximize profit and limit the amount that they spend on workers, on the ingredients, on the quality of the experience of the consumer. Yeah, absolutely.
But at least if you're tipping a, sullen and lazy customer service employee, you're still tipping an actual employee. You're tipping someone. You're tipping a human being. Increasingly, even that is starting to change. The Wall Street Journal reports this week, quote, tipping at self-checkout has customers crying emotional blackmail. Zero interaction with employees during a transaction no longer guarantees freedom from the moral quandary of how much to tip.
What are you talking about? I've had a tip. Anytime I've gotten a screen that's like, hey, would you like to tip? It's a situation where the person behind the screen is not serving me the food. They're fucking making it. Or they're making other people's food or drinks or whatever. Like, the tip is for the service of the thing. The thing I'm paying for when I buy the drink is I'm paying the establishment for, like, the service of having the available ingredients. The tips are for labor. Tips are insidious. The business owner has shrugged off their financial duty to pay their employees. So stupid. Anyway, I have this Sunny Delight seltzer thing I'm going to drink. Let's get crunk, chat. Is that what the kids say? Crunk? 2002 kids? Any of you?
Prompts to leave 20% at self-checkout machines at airports, stadiums, cookie shops, and cafes across the country are rankling consumers already inundated by the proliferation of tip screens.
Fizzy Sunny D. It could use more Sunny D, if I'm honest. But if you took this and added it with a little more splash of Sunny D, it'd be perfect. It's good. I like it. I think it needs a little bit more. It's kind of a low sugar situation, which I like, but it actually needs a little bit more. Actually, you know what? If you took this and you poured this into a glass of like Sunny D, like a half glass, would be even more better. Wish it was like boozy. It's boozy. No. It's good. It has Sunny D flavor. It's just not as sweet. It's like it's not as sweet as like the if you took a sip of Sunny D. But it is very good, and it tastes like Sunny D. I think you'd like it, Tasha. It's good. Like it says seltzer on here, but it's not like not sweetened. That's like what? 95 calories. So it's 0 grams of sugar. So that's what it is. It has the sweetener in it, but yeah, it's good. I would just add a little bit more Sunny D, personally.
Business owners say the automated queues can significantly
It's not just Sunny D static. No. It's good.
increase gratuities
sweetened.
and boost
Just
staff
not with
pay.
sugar.
But the unmanned prompts are leading more customers to question what exactly the tips are for. They're cutting labor costs by doing self-checkout, but what's the point of asking for a tip? And where's it going? Says Ishita Jamar, a senior at American University in Washington, D.C., who has noticed more self-serve tip queues at restaurants she frequents. Tipping researchers, that's a job apparently, tipping researchers, and labor advocates.
Yes, Chip, why wouldn't you research this aspect of the economy? It's these guys that profess so much, like anytime anyone researches or like tries to figure something out, they like, oh my god, wouldn't even consider looking at something like this and weighing options. You know what I mean? They're always so
So-called
surprised.
tip creep is a way for employers to
Smoke check.
put the onus for employee pay onto consumers rather than raising wages themselves. Companies say that tips are an optional thanks for a job well done. Job well done? Well, who did the job at a self-checkout machine? Me? If anyone should be tipped after I use self-checkout, it should be me. And I really should get a tip because I'm very efficient on the self-checkout, okay? Unlike a lot of people, and they're in front of you self-checkout.
That's the best man that's ever existed.
You know that's going to be a problem. It's going to be there. They bag each thing slowly and individually and all that. I speed through that thing. It's one of my best skills. And I've already taken on the role of the employee when I'm at the self-checkout machine. I am scanning and bagging my own items. So the store should be tipping me for my labor, not the other way around.
No.
President Trump recently.
I don't know. I've never been tipped for never had a tip offer for self-checkout, ever. Never seen that. He is good at his life. You know what you should do? You know what I bet Matt doesn't do? I bet he doesn't return the carts when he goes to the supermarket.
It has to do.
Are you talking about you doing an ad?
The store should be tipping me for my labor, not the other way around. President Trump recently issued a warning.
Oh, is this just another part of the video? Okay, Matt Walsh is doing another topic now to fit the 10-minute mark so they can run a mid-roll. How much do you want to bet that the origin tipping is also rooted in racism and trying to underpay former slaves? I would not be surprised at all to find that many of these practices in general are just greed in one way or the other. I don't know if they're racially motivated at all. Although a lot of minority people obviously have positions of service historically in America. So, and I wonder why.
From his Mar-a-Lago home, quote, if I could do a Trump impression here, I would do it, but I can't. So, our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be our greatest defeat, frankly, in 200 years. There are 3 reasons the central banks are dumping the U.S. dollar: inflation, deficit spending, and...
So, Ben Shapiro has been out on Trump. I wonder where Matt Walsh's loyalties now lie.
And our insurmountable national debt. The fact is, there is one asset that has withstood famine, wars, political and economic upheaval, dating all the way back to biblical times, and that is gold. I've bought gold from Birch Gold in preparation for uncertain economic...
There's a Birch Gold ad.
And I think machines resent being asked to do the job of an employee without...
Okay, back to this now.
On the other hand, I think it's certain... Because on the one hand, self-checkout is all to 9898 today.
It's an ad.
So,
I thought he was going to move on to another topic, but nope. It's an ad for buy gold, chat. That's not embarrassing.
Self-checkout has always been kind of a time of internal emotional conflict for me because on the one hand, I appreciate how self-checkout caters to my antisocial tendencies. So I like that. I don't have to talk to anybody. That's great.
Wow. Matt Walsh, antisocial. Surprise.
On the other hand, I think it's certainly a generally unhealthy thing for society to replace human jobs with machines.
Matt, capitalism demands that they find efficient ways to save money. I agree with you. I agree, Matt Walsh, that I think we could do with a little bit more interpersonal interaction in our communities. However, I don't think that the only way to do that is through service. I'm fine with self-checkout. Ethically, it's not a big deal. No one needs to fucking bag my shit. That said, quite a few Republicans have come out against Trump, even Lindsey Graham. Oh.
I don't think that's a good trend. Okay, it doesn't go anywhere good. And besides, I sort of resent
capitalism.
being asked to do the job of employee without being paid for it.
I resent he doesn't move. Matt Walsh definitely, you know, when you go to the restaurant, do you guys like gather your shit and sort of like wipe up a little bit, clean up so that the person that comes after you and cleans up your table doesn't have to deal with like a super mess? They just have to deal with like a normal person's I just ate mess. Like a reasonable amount. Like, yeah, most millennials especially clean the shit up. I guarantee Matt Walsh doesn't.
As soon as we get to the point.
So I'm confused about this national debt thing. What happens if only if one of the world's most powerful countries, USA, decides just not to pay back the debt? I guess, I don't know. You could totally just pay back the debt. Here's the thing, though. National debt is not like actual fucking... They're not cutting checks to each other. They're like... It's like deals and goods and shit. It like still would work the same, essentially. Like they're already bartering. You know what I mean? Like the money is an ephemeral thing that they're using to put a value on the barter goods. So it doesn't really change. Here's what I'm proposing, okay? You don't have to change your international economics right away. All you have to do is change your domestic economics. Domestically, making people not have to spend money on survival necessities is absolutely fine.
It's cold.
Internationally is more complex. Internationally, we may still deal in that, but nonetheless, the value of your dollar would in fact rise as the buying power of it rose as well, because they're not the group of 350 million consumers are not forced to spend money on housing. However, if you're Matt Walsh, type of guy who likes people to have families and stuff, think of a person who goes to high school, right? They're born to a family, a couple of people that are allowed housing and food, and so it gives them shelter, and then they're also allowed education, okay? A couple of 16-year-olds, because Matt Walsh thinks that that's prime picking, you know what I mean? Couple of 16-year-olds love each other in high school. They're going to love each other for their whole lives. Spoiler alert. 70 years of marriage. They're going to die at 86 at the exact same time, okay? And they're going to have 2 kids. But they have one at 16, okay? That's a little too early. They luckily have a country, and neither of them have parents. But they have like grandma and grandpa raised them both, and then they both die right at senior year, and they have nowhere to go, right? Like normally these people would be fucked under capitalism. There is no chance for these 2 white Christian fertile 16-year-olds that Matt Walsh thinks should be the American way making a family in this scenario, right? There's just no way that these 2 people have a shot to be successful at all. I mean, they're gonna have to like really, really, really spend a lot of time away from this baby, raising it properly throughout its young life, and it will likely not develop into what Matt Walsh would consider a quality human being, right? It would probably be in some place that has low wages, which would mean it has to be affordable, which would mean there's likely going to be people that Matt Walsh thinks suck there. There's going to be crime. There's going to be minority people. There's going to be people of all walks of life there, and not just waspy white middle class guys, right? And so, like, if you want the society you say you want, you have to give people roads to travel there, right? You cannot simply have them all forge their own path through the fucking wilderness to get there. It's not going to happen. You have to give people a path forward. So if you give these couples, right, like, or just anybody, the ability to have shelter at no cost to them. Now these people have dignified shelter where they can be safe, they can lock the door, they can keep their things, they can accumulate wealth. They're not spending it on rent. They can now go get a job in whatever thing you think sucks that they shouldn't be able to make a living at, being a waiter or being a barista or any other job of labor that you obviously need, like, to live your life, that you refuse to tip. All these jobs can now be, they can save wealth, accumulate it. They can buy a car. They can buy a computer. They can buy nice things. They can even, like, get themselves, because healthcare is free, they can have this baby with not, like, a $30,000 hospital bill, right, to have this child. This child will also itself be able to get its own healthcare independent of their own wealth. Like, what if it has complications, right? And then on top of that, these people have access to education. So from their what would be squalor under capitalism, these people have the option to, I can work, I can go to school, I can do both. I can focus on one or the other because I don't need money for food, because food is a thing we give people. They could literally not have to work and both focus on their education so that they can not only give their child a better life, but give America better workers and better fucking citizens, because they would be more knowledgeable and be more specialized. Hey, we have a need for, I don't know, what is a profession Matt Walsh respects? Loggers or something. We need more loggers, dude. Okay, so we need people to go do that and learn that profession safely and efficiently, and also understand how to keep the environment healthy while we're doing it, and, like, you know, stuff like this. People to tend to forest fires and help other people. I don't know. There's, like, so many ways that society's improved just by eliminating that right there. You do anything else on that, that's cherries on top. But if you just handle that, survival, dignified survival, they don't worry about food, they don't worry about shelter, they don't worry about their health, and they don't worry about, like, am I able to fucking, like, move and get into society and do stuff? Yes. You can go get an education, you can go work. You don't have to do either. You could travel around the country to find something that suits you, and you will always have shelter available. Like, this is a beautiful system that I think Matt Walsh should support, that would give you quality freedoms. Anyway, that's me derailing this. I don't want to listen to them talk about the tipping topic much more. But we're going to continue. We're going to press on. But anyway, I think that's stuff we could fucking easily do, easily accomplish. We're America. I thought we were the fucking best country. If you get rid of that barrier, Americans will forever, like, have the best quality of life moving forward. It would solve all of your problems. It would solve your violence problems. It would solve your gang problems. It would solve your drug problems. It would solve your brain drain problems. It would solve your generational familial problems. Because, like, think about those people, that couple that now has that education. They save that money from not having to pay rent, not having to pay health insurance, and not having to, like, you know, make ends meet, and maybe, you know, their survival and their quality of life demanded that they maybe, like, do things that weren't necessarily legal from time to time, or maybe morally objectionable to you. Like, maybe she started an OnlyFans because it was a good quality way to make a buck, but you ethically think that that's a bad thing that she shouldn't do, but she's got her kid to raise, right? So, like, you know, people make these decisions that they wouldn't otherwise make. It's exploitative. It's not, like, people are, it's like, we could talk about informed consent and stuff, but anyway, I think Matt Walsh and people like him, I think Matt Walsh is a bad actor, but I think people that watch Matt Walsh would agree in general with the principles of what's the kind of country you want. Okay, how do we get it? It seems like an easy answer. These people are saving money, making homes, having the white picket fence that he wants them to have, having a nuclear family, a dog, a cat, a ranch, or whatever. Like, think about this. You could have, like, literally the real American heartland. The cities could be the little like, panspermia spots of, like, the culture that spreads out into the fucking landscape, and you actually get, like, this sort of, like, I don't know, what's Matt Walsh want? Jeffersonian fucking libertarian agrarianism? Wow, I just said a lot of big words. We smoke too much weed. Anyway, let's go.
Point where Walmart expects the customers to come in at 3 a.m. to unload the trucks and stock the shelves, and mop the floors.
He wants theocracy. You're totally right, yeah.
And they'll still ask us to leave a tip at the end of it.
Nonetheless, I don't think every Matt Walsh fan wants a theocracy. I think every Matt Walsh fan watches these things because they're part of some culture war hub, and it's usually transphobia. But, like, again, trans issues are a freedom of speech issue, in my opinion, and I'm right. That's all they are.
And most people will. See, that's the real story here. You know, it's clear that the tipping virus, it's spreading uncontrollably. We all know that now.
The tipping virus. We should be demanding a 5% discount for using self-checkout. Thanks for the upvotes. Matt actually read this comment. Oh boy, Jason Fisher. Telling his Facebook friends about this one. Thank you for talking about this. Tipping for an automatic car wash or for a $7 cup of coffee at Starbucks is ridiculous. Every time I watch your videos, I'm reassured that there are people with common sense left in the world. All of these people are just greedy cunts. These are all just trash. Don't give them good service and kick them out of your establishments. Literally, here's what I think we should do with people. I think we should make them fucking, you're antisocial? Okay, you are out of my social space. I'm not going to serve you. Leave. No one should give Matt Walsh the time of day. Problem is, everyone needs it for survival, and Matt Walsh knows it. In fact, your survival hanging on the amount of money you have is an intended consequence of capitalism. It is the only way that the upper class can keep you under their fucking control. That's 100% true. Now, not all of them know this, though, so we could win that way. Not all of them are smart enough to know that. Some of them just really don't fucking know. They're just like, that's how it works, you know? It's not a conspiracy. It's buffoonery. I would love if this was a conspiracy and you could just clip like 5 bad guys. I'd be like, yeah, I'd be 100%. Be like, send the tankies in. Send the tankies in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Easy. Easy W. Now capitalism's done. No. It's a bunch of people. It's a bunch of people agreeing to a LARP. We don't have to, though. We genuinely don't have to. It's a decision. I could save the world, chat. I have enough weed and confidence to save the world.
As with most things in our culture, the solution is to get back to the basics.
Is to tell people how to live.
To return to tradition.
Let's see.
The only people who should be asking for a tip are waiters and fast food delivery people.
What about bartenders? What about guys that are doing like work for you? What about, I worked at a marina and they used to tip the person that helped fuel the yachts. What about the kid that mows your lawn, Matt? Like, no, that's an agreed upon first time $20. I mean, like, shut up. Matt Walsh holds the power of hatred. Not kidding. Here in Alabama, there's a bill coming out called What is a Woman Act? I mean, yeah. I mean, those are going to get eventually shut down, but in the meantime, there's going to be a lot of fucking harm on the way. And I feel really bad for the trans folks. There is dignity in sticking around in those areas and like being like, nope, I'm going to fight for my fucking home and my community and the place I grew up. I get it. But also, if you don't feel any of that, if you don't feel like really tied to the state you're in that is vilifying you, move the fuck out to one that loves you if you are able to. And if you're not able to, there's probably other people who also can't, but collectively you might be able to. You feel me? So, again, we can work as communities to help. There's relocation funds out there as well. We would love to have you in Michigan. It's a good place. It's really trans-friendly.
Even though the food delivery apps already charge service.
And if you can't leave, obviously, you know, it's what it is. But there's a march happening in Montgomery this Tuesday. Let's fucking go, dude.
Fees and delivery service fees and service delivery fees. And then they ask for a tip on top of all that. So you're paying $87 for a hamburger before you add the tip. Well, that's kind of a separate issue. Waiters and delivery people, still, they can ask for tips. A few other service jobs that have been grandfathered in, valets, coat checks, etc. Everyone else can make do with the wage that they're already being paid.
Which is a tip wage, Matt. So no.
You're already...
Yeah, again, he's grumpy not at the society. This isn't like the wokies doing this. This is him being mad at the lower class for being poor and talking about it. a class that he was once definitely close to before his purchase by the Daily Wire. But he will one day reach this spot again, and his grift will get worse, because of course it will.
Are you getting paid to do your job? That's why if you're at the checkout,
Very leopards eating faces.
Paycheck is for this right here, this interaction where I'm giving you something, you're scanning it, you're taking the card. Like, that's what that's for. That's what your paycheck is for. It's for that.
Cool, dude. All right. All right. Matt Walsh is just like literally a psychopath or something. he has no like connection with another human being. He's simply too darkened by his hatred.